How to Win Your Mind and Change Your Life, published by MindRise Audio. Introduction. Your life will never change until your mind changes. That is the truth at the heart of this book. Every achievement begins with a thought. Every habit begins with a decision. Every success or failure starts in the mind long before it appears in the outside world. Most people spend years trying to change their circumstances. They change jobs, they change routines, they change environments, yet they remain frustrated because they never change the way they think. Your mind is the control center of your life. It shapes your choices, it influences your emotions, it determines your actions, and over time, those actions become your future. The good news is this: your mind is not fixed. It can be trained, it can be strengthened, it can be renewed. No matter where you are today, you have the ability to develop a mindset that supports confidence, discipline, resilience, and lasting success. This book was written to help you do exactly that. It is not about quick fixes. It is not about empty motivation that fades after a few hours. Instead, it offers practical principles that have stood the test of time. You will learn how to recognize the thoughts that keep you stuck. You will discover how to replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones. You will build habits that strengthen your focus. You will learn how to manage fear, control your emotions, and take action even when life feels uncertain. As you move through each chapter, you will notice a simple pattern. First comes awareness, then comes understanding, finally comes action. That is how real transformation happens. Small changes in your thinking create small changes in your actions. Small changes in your actions become powerful habits, and powerful habits build an extraordinary life. Remember this: you do not have to be the smartest person in the room. You do not have to be the most talented. You do not need perfect circumstances. You only need the willingness to train your mind, one thought and one decision at a time. As you listen, take a moment to reflect on your own life. Ask yourself honest questions. What beliefs have been holding me back? What fears have controlled my decisions? What kind of person do I truly want to become? Do not rush to answer. Allow each chapter to challenge your thinking. Allow the ideas to settle. Real growth comes from reflection, followed by consistent action. This is your journey. No one else can think for you. No one else can make your decisions. No one else can build your future. But you have something incredibly powerful. You have the ability to choose your next thought, and that single choice can begin a completely different life. So, as we begin this journey together, keep an open mind, listen carefully, reflect deeply. Most importantly, be willing to apply what you learn. Because the greatest victory you will ever achieve is not over other people, it is over your own mind. And when you learn to win your mind, you will discover the power to change your life. Chapter 1. The battle begins in your mind. Every great victory is won twice. The first victory happens in the mind. The second victory happens in the real world. Most people only notice the second one. They see the successful business, they admire the healthy body, they celebrate the promotion. They applaud the athlete who wins the championship. What they rarely see is the invisible battle that came before every visible result. That battle took place in the mind. Before someone changes a habit, they change a belief. Before they build confidence, they challenge fear. Before they achieve success, they decide that quitting is no longer an option. Your life follows the direction of your thoughts more than you may realize. This chapter is about understanding that truth. It is about recognizing that the greatest challenge you will ever face is not the economy. It is not your background. It is not your age or your circumstances. Your greatest challenge is learning to lead your own mind instead of allowing it to lead you. For many people, the mind becomes an uncontrolled place. Negative thoughts arrive without permission. Fear grows stronger than faith. Doubt speaks louder than possibility. Excuses become easier than action. After enough repetition, these thoughts begin to feel like facts. But they are not facts. They are habits of thinking, and habits can be changed. Imagine a captain standing at the wheel of a ship during a violent storm. The waves are powerful. The wind pushes from every direction. The sky is dark. The captain cannot control the storm, but the captain can control the wheel. Life works in much the same way. You cannot control every event that happens around you. Unexpected problems will come. People will disappoint you. Plans will fail. Opportunities may disappear. Yet you always have one remarkable power. You can choose how you respond. That choice begins inside your mind. Many people spend years trying to improve their lives without ever examining the thoughts that create their daily actions. They focus on changing the outside. They buy new clothes. They change jobs. They move to another city. They wait for the perfect opportunity. Sometimes those changes help. Often they do not. Why? Because wherever you go, your mind goes with you. If your thinking stays the same, your results often stay the same. There is a simple story that illustrates this idea. Two friends graduated from the same school. They came from similar families. They started with similar opportunities. The first friend believed every setback was temporary. When rejected for a job, he learned new skills. When a business idea failed, he studied what went wrong. When people criticized him, he listened for useful lessons instead of giving up. The second friend faced the same obstacles, but his thoughts were different. Every rejection became proof that he was not good enough. Every mistake became a reason to stop trying. Every challenge convinced him that success belonged only to lucky people. 10 years later, their lives looked completely different. The difference was not intelligence, it was not talent, it was not luck. The greatest difference was the story each person repeated inside their own mind. Your inner story quietly shapes your outer life. If you constantly tell yourself that you cannot succeed, your actions begin to match that belief. You hesitate, you avoid risks, you settle for less than you deserve. On the other hand, if you believe that every skill can be developed and every failure contains a lesson, your behavior changes. You become curious, you become persistent, you begin to notice opportunities that were always there. This is why the battle in your mind matters so much. Everything else grows from it. Scientists and psychologists have spent years studying how repeated thoughts influence behavior. The brain is designed to strengthen patterns that are used often. The more frequently you think a certain way, the more natural that way of thinking becomes. This works for you. It also works against you. Repeat fear often enough, and fear becomes familiar. Repeat confidence often enough, and confidence begins to feel natural. Your brain is always learning. The question is simple. What are you teaching it every day? Think about the first thoughts that enter your mind each morning. Do you wake up expecting problems? Do you immediately think about stress? Do you tell yourself that today will probably be difficult? Or do you begin with purpose? Do you remind yourself that every new day offers another chance to grow? The quality of your questions shapes the quality of your thinking. Instead of asking, "Why does everything go wrong?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of saying, "I cannot do this," try saying, "I cannot do this yet." That one small word changes everything. It creates room for growth. It keeps hope alive. Winning the battle in your mind does not mean pretending life is easy. It does not mean ignoring pain or denying reality. It means refusing to let temporary circumstances define your permanent identity. You may experience failure. That does not make you a failure. You may feel afraid. That does not mean you are weak. You may face disappointment. That does not mean your future has been decided. Your circumstances describe where you are. They do not determine where you can go. One practical exercise can begin changing your thinking today. Take a notebook. Write down 3 negative thoughts that appear often. Be honest. Perhaps you write, "I am not capable," or maybe, "Nothing ever works for me." Now challenge each statement. Ask yourself if it is completely true. Look for evidence that proves otherwise. Replace each thought with one that is realistic and empowering. I am learning every day. I become stronger through practice. I can improve with consistent effort. Do this every day for 1 week. You may be surprised by how quickly your awareness begins to grow. The goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. Every time you replace one destructive thought with a constructive one, you strengthen a healthier mental pattern. It may seem like a small step, but small steps repeated consistently create extraordinary change. Remember that every building begins with a single brick. Every journey begins with one step. Every transformation begins with one decision. The same is true for your mind. You do not need to change everything today. You only need to win the next thought, then the next one, and the one after that. Over time, those small victories become a new way of thinking. That new way of thinking becomes a new way of living. As we continue this journey together, remember one simple truth. The battle for your future is not fought first in your bank account. It is not fought in your workplace. It is not fought in your relationships. It is fought in your mind. Win that battle, and every other victory becomes possible. Chapter 2. Break free from limiting beliefs. Every person lives by a story. Some stories inspire courage. Some stories create fear. The most powerful stories are not the ones told by other people. They are the ones you quietly repeat to yourself every single day. These stories become beliefs. Beliefs shape decisions. Decisions shape actions. Actions shape your future. That is why limiting beliefs are so dangerous. They do not simply influence how you think. They influence how you live. Many people never discover their true potential because they have accepted a false idea about themselves. They believe they are too old to start over. They believe they are not intelligent enough to succeed. They believe they missed their opportunity. They believe success belongs to someone else. The tragedy is not that these beliefs exist. The tragedy is that they are rarely questioned. A belief is not always the truth. It is simply something you have accepted as true. Think about that for a moment. If you accepted an idea years ago without questioning it, you can also choose to question it today. And if you can question it, you can replace it. Imagine an elephant tied to a small wooden stake. When the elephant was young, it tried to escape many times. It pulled with all its strength. It struggled every day, but the rope held firm. Eventually, the elephant stopped trying. Years later, the elephant had grown large enough to break the stake with almost no effort. Yet it never did. Why? Because it believed the rope was stronger than it was. The rope no longer held the elephant. The belief did. Many people live in the same way. The limits that control them are often invisible. Perhaps a teacher once said they were not talented. Perhaps they failed an important exam. Perhaps someone laughed at their dream. Perhaps they were rejected by someone they admired. Those moments hurt. Over time, they became part of an inner story. That story slowly turned into a belief. Without realizing it, they began making decisions based on that belief instead of reality. This is how invisible prisons are built. The walls cannot be seen, but they are strong enough to stop dreams before they even begin. Consider the story of Thomas Edison. Before creating the practical electric light bulb, he experienced thousands of unsuccessful attempts. Many people would have accepted failure as proof that they were not capable. Edison saw each attempt differently. He believed every experiment brought him one step closer to success. His belief changed the meaning of failure. Instead of seeing an ending, he saw progress. The lesson is powerful. Events do not define your future. The meaning you give those events does. Two people can experience the same setback. One sees defeat, the other sees education. One quits, the other grows stronger. The event is the same, the belief is different. That difference changes everything. Limiting beliefs often sound familiar. I am not creative. I never finish what I start. I always make mistakes. I am not confident. People like me never become successful. Notice something important. These statements sound like facts, but they are actually conclusions, and conclusions can be changed. Instead of saying, I am not confident, ask yourself another question. What small action would a confident person take today? The answer might be making one phone call. It might be speaking up in a meeting. It might be introducing yourself to someone new. Confidence rarely comes before action. More often, it grows because of action. The same principle applies to almost every area of life. You do not become disciplined before you act. You become disciplined by acting consistently. You do not become fearless before you begin. You become braver every time you face your fear. Action rewrites belief. That is one of the most important lessons in this chapter. Many people wait until they feel different before they change. Successful people understand the opposite. They change their behavior first, then their beliefs begin to follow. Imagine someone who has never exercised. They believe they are not athletic. One morning they decide to walk for 15 minutes. The next day they do the same. Weeks become months. Eventually they complete a long race. Their body changes. More importantly, their identity changes. They no longer say, I am not athletic. Now they say, I take care of my health. The new belief was not created by positive thinking alone. It was created through repeated action. Your brain pays attention to evidence. Every positive action gives it new evidence. Every small success becomes proof that change is possible. That is why small victories matter. Never underestimate them. A single promise kept to yourself is more powerful than 100 empty promises. Every time you follow through, you send yourself an important message. I can trust myself. That message becomes a stronger belief. Strong beliefs create stronger actions. Another powerful way to break limiting beliefs is to examine the people around you. The people you spend time with influence your thinking. If everyone around you complains, you may begin believing that life is unfair. If everyone around you avoids risk, you may begin fearing every opportunity. On the other hand, if you spend time with people who learn, grow, and encourage one another, your thinking begins to expand. Beliefs spread through conversation. Choose your environment wisely. Pay attention to the words you hear every day. Even more importantly, pay attention to the words you speak. Language shapes identity. Instead of saying, I have to, try saying, I choose to. Instead of saying, this is impossible, say, this is difficult, but I can learn. The situation has not changed. Your perspective has. Perspective often determines performance. There is another habit that can quietly destroy your confidence. Comparison. When you constantly compare yourself to others, you ignore your own progress. You compare your beginning to someone else's middle. You compare your struggles to someone else's highlights. That comparison creates another false belief. I will never be enough. The truth is different. Your only real competition is the person you were yesterday. Measure growth by your own progress. Celebrate every improvement, no matter how small it seems. Growth is rarely dramatic. Most of the time it is almost invisible. One better decision, one better habit, one better response. These small improvements create remarkable results over time. Here is a practical exercise you can begin today. Take a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle. On the left side, write every limiting belief that comes to mind. Do not judge yourself, simply write honestly. On the right side, write a new belief supported by action. If the old belief says, I always quit, write, I finish one important task every day. If the old belief says, I cannot learn new skills, write, I improve through daily practice. Now read the new beliefs every morning. Then prove them with action. Remember this. Words alone will not change your life. Repeated actions will. As the days pass, your brain begins collecting new evidence. The old story becomes weaker, the new story becomes stronger. This process requires patience. Do not expect years of thinking to disappear overnight. Real change happens one decision at a time, one habit at a time, one courageous action at a time. You are not trapped by your past. You are not defined by your worst mistake. You are not limited by the opinions of people who never understood your potential. Your future is not waiting for a perfect opportunity. It is waiting for a new belief. The moment you stop believing that your limits are permanent, you begin creating a different life. Remember this truth as you move forward. The strongest chains are rarely made of steel. They are made of beliefs. Break those beliefs, and you begin to discover a freedom that no obstacle can take away. Chapter 3. Master your inner voice. There is one voice you hear more than any other. It is not your family. It is not your friends. It is not your manager. It is not the news. It is your own inner voice. From the moment you wake up until you fall asleep, your mind is constantly speaking to you. Sometimes the voice encourages you. Sometimes it warns you. Sometimes it reminds you of your strengths. But for many people, that voice becomes their harshest critic. It whispers that they are not good enough. It tells them they will fail. It reminds them of old mistakes. It convinces them to stay where it feels safe. After hearing those messages often enough, they stop questioning them. They begin believing them. That is where the real danger begins. Your inner voice has incredible power. It shapes your emotions. It influences your confidence. It affects every decision you make. If your inner voice is filled with doubt, your actions will reflect doubt. If your inner voice is filled with courage, your actions will reflect courage. The quality of your life is deeply connected to the quality of your self-talk. Think about how you would speak to a close friend. If your friend made a mistake, would you say, "You always fail, you will never succeed"? Probably not. You would encourage them. You would remind them that one mistake does not define their future. You would tell them to learn from the experience and keep moving. Now ask yourself an honest question. Why do you deserve less kindness from yourself than you offer to others? Many people would never speak to another person the way they speak to themselves. That habit slowly destroys confidence. It weakens motivation. It creates unnecessary fear. The good news is that your inner voice is not permanent. It can be trained. Just like any other habit, your self-talk becomes stronger through repetition. If you repeat negative thoughts every day, they become automatic. If you repeat constructive thoughts every day, they also become automatic. The direction is your choice. Imagine a radio playing in the background. If one station fills your mind with fear, you are not forced to keep listening. You can change the station. Your thoughts work in a similar way. You cannot always control which thought appears first, but you can choose which thought stays. That simple choice changes everything. Consider the story of a young musician preparing for an important performance. For weeks she practiced every day. She knew the music. She understood every note. Yet on the day of the performance, her inner voice began to speak. What if you forget everything? What if everyone laughs at you? What if you are not talented enough? Nothing around her had changed, only her thoughts had changed. For a few moments, fear became stronger than preparation. Then she remembered something her teacher had told her. Do not believe every thought you hear. She took a deep breath. Instead of listening to fear, she reminded herself of the hours she had practiced. She focused on what she could control. One note, then the next, then the next. The performance was not perfect, but it was successful. The difference was not talent. The difference was the conversation happening inside her mind. This lesson applies to every area of life. Before every interview, your inner voice speaks. Before every difficult conversation, it speaks. Before every new opportunity, it speaks. The question is not whether it will speak. The question is whether you will believe everything it says. Many thoughts are simply emotional reactions. They are not facts. You may think, I feel nervous. That is true. But if your mind says, because I feel nervous, I will fail, that is only an assumption. Learn to separate feelings from facts. This simple habit creates emotional freedom. Your feelings deserve attention. They do not deserve complete control. One of the most effective ways to master your inner voice is to become an observer instead of a prisoner. Notice your thoughts. Do not immediately accept them. Ask simple questions. Is this thought helping me? Is it completely true? What evidence supports it? What evidence challenges it? These questions weaken negative thinking. They create space for better decisions. Another important truth is this: your brain remembers what you repeat. Imagine walking across a grassy field. The first time is difficult. There is no clear path. But if you walk the same route every day, a trail begins to appear. Eventually, that path becomes the easiest one to follow. Thoughts work the same way. Every repeated thought creates a stronger mental pathway. This is why changing your inner voice takes patience. You are building a new path. Do not become discouraged if the old thoughts return. They are simply old habits. Each time you choose a healthier response, you strengthen a new habit. Over time, the new path becomes easier. The old one begins to fade. There is another challenge many people face. They confuse humility with self-criticism. They believe they must constantly point out their weaknesses. They think confidence is arrogance. That is not true. Real confidence is quiet. It does not need to impress anyone. It simply recognizes both strengths and areas for growth. A healthy inner voice does not pretend you are perfect. It reminds you that you are capable of improving. There is a powerful difference between these two statements: I failed and I am a failure. The first describes an event. The second creates an identity. Never confuse your experiences with your identity. You may fail at a task. You may lose an opportunity. You may make a poor decision. None of those moments define who you are. They simply become lessons that prepare you for future success. Successful people understand this principle. They speak to themselves differently. When something goes wrong, they ask, "What can I learn?" They do not ask, "What is wrong with me?" That one question changes the direction of their thinking. It moves them from shame toward growth. Another way to strengthen your inner voice is through intentional gratitude. Every evening, take a few minutes to remember 3 things that went well. They do not have to be extraordinary. Perhaps you completed an important task. Perhaps you kept a promise to yourself. Perhaps you helped another person. Your brain naturally notices problems. Gratitude teaches it to notice progress. Over time, this simple habit creates a more balanced perspective. It reminds you that growth is happening even when it feels slow. Words also carry emotional weight. Replace harsh labels with accurate descriptions. Instead of saying, "I am terrible at this," say, "I am still learning." Instead of saying, "I cannot handle challenges," say, "Challenges help me become stronger." These are not empty affirmations. They are realistic statements that encourage action instead of fear. Remember that your inner voice should become your coach, not your enemy. A good coach tells the truth. A good coach corrects mistakes. A good coach expects effort. But a good coach also believes in your potential. Become that coach for yourself. Encourage yourself without making excuses. Correct yourself without destroying your confidence. Celebrate progress without becoming satisfied with mediocrity. Here is a practical exercise you can begin today. Carry a small notebook or use the notes on your phone. Whenever you notice a negative thought repeating itself, write it down. At the end of the day, read each thought carefully. Then write a healthier replacement beside it. If the thought says, "I always disappoint people," replace it with, "I am learning to become more dependable." If the thought says, "I am not ready," replace it with, "I become more prepared every time I practice." Repeat the new statement every time the old one appears. Do this consistently. You are not lying to yourself. You are training yourself. Every great achievement begins with disciplined thinking. Every strong relationship begins with respectful communication. That includes the communication you have with yourself. Your inner voice will always influence your future. Make sure it speaks words that lead you forward instead of holding you back. Remember this simple truth. The voice you listen to the most will eventually become the life you live. Choose that voice wisely. Train it daily. Let it remind you of what is possible. Because when you learn to master your inner voice, you stop becoming your greatest obstacle. You begin becoming your greatest source of strength. Chapter 4. Control your emotions before they control you. Emotions are powerful. They can inspire you to take bold action. They can help you build deep relationships. They can give meaning to your victories and strength during difficult times. But when emotions are left without direction, they can also become your greatest obstacle. One moment of uncontrolled anger can destroy years of trust. One moment of fear can stop you from pursuing your biggest opportunity. One moment of frustration can cause a decision you regret for the rest of your life. This is why learning to manage your emotions is one of the most valuable skills you will ever develop. Notice something important. The goal is not to eliminate emotions. That would be impossible. The goal is to lead your emotions instead of allowing them to lead you. There is a big difference. Imagine driving a powerful sports car. The engine is strong. The speed is exciting. But without a steering wheel, that same power becomes dangerous. Emotions are like the engine. They provide energy. They give life color and meaning. Your mind is the steering wheel. Without direction, emotional power can take you places you never intended to go. Every person experiences joy. Every person experiences disappointment. Every person feels fear, anger, sadness, excitement, and hope. The difference between emotionally strong people and emotionally weak people is not the absence of feelings. The difference is how they respond to those feelings. Many people believe emotions happen too quickly to control. There is some truth in that. An emotion often appears before you consciously choose it, but your response is always a choice. That small space between feeling and action changes everything. Think about a traffic light. When the light turns red, you stop. Not because stopping feels exciting, but because stopping protects you. In the same way, your emotions sometimes need a red light, a pause, a moment to breathe, a chance to think before you react. That pause may only last a few seconds, yet it can save relationships, careers, and opportunities. Consider the story of a young manager named Daniel. He worked hard for many years to earn a leadership position. One afternoon, a project failed because of a mistake made by one of his employees. Daniel felt embarrassed. He felt angry. Without thinking, he criticized the employee in front of the entire team. The room became silent. The employee said very little, but something important changed that day. Trust disappeared. The team became afraid to admit mistakes. Creativity declined. People stopped sharing ideas because they feared public criticism. Later that evening, Daniel realized his greatest mistake was not the failed project. It was allowing one emotional moment to shape his leadership. The next morning, he apologized. He accepted responsibility. He promised to respond differently in the future. That single decision slowly rebuilt trust. His leadership improved because he learned one important lesson. Emotions are temporary. The consequences of emotional decisions often last much longer. There is another story with a different outcome. A woman named Sarah dreamed of starting her own business. She spent months planning. Then the day finally came to launch. Only a few customers appeared. She felt discouraged. Part of her wanted to quit immediately. Instead, she chose patience. She reminded herself that one difficult day did not define the future of her business. She studied customer feedback. She improved her products. She kept showing up every day. Several years later, her small business became a successful company. What changed? Not her emotions. She still experienced disappointment. What changed was her response. She refused to let temporary feelings make permanent decisions. This principle applies to all of us. Your emotions provide information. They should not always provide direction. Fear may tell you something feels uncertain. That does not always mean you should stop. Anger may tell you something feels unfair. That does not mean you should react immediately. Sadness may remind you that something matters deeply. That does not mean hope has disappeared. Healthy emotions deserve attention. Unhealthy reactions deserve correction. One of the greatest habits you can develop is emotional awareness. Many people only recognize emotions after they have already reacted. Emotionally mature people notice emotions while they are happening. They pause, they observe, they ask themselves simple questions. What am I feeling? Why am I feeling this? What is the best response? These questions create clarity. Clarity creates better choices. Your body often gives emotional signals before your mind recognizes them. Your heartbeat becomes faster. Your shoulders become tense. Your breathing becomes shallow. Your voice changes. These signals are not your enemy. They are reminders. They tell you it is time to slow down and think carefully. One slow breath can interrupt an emotional reaction. 3 deep breaths can completely change the direction of a conversation. It sounds simple, because it is. Simple habits often produce extraordinary results. Another important truth is that emotions spread from one person to another. Have you ever entered a room where everyone seemed anxious? You probably felt that tension yourself. Have you ever spent time with someone who remained calm during a crisis? Their calmness likely affected you as well. Your emotional state influences the people around you. Parents influence children. Leaders influence teams. Friends influence one another. When you learn emotional control, you do more than improve your own life. You become a source of stability for others. That is real strength. Many people believe strength means hiding emotions. It does not. Ignoring emotions only causes them to grow stronger. Real strength means acknowledging your feelings without becoming controlled by them. You can admit you are afraid. You can admit you are disappointed. You can admit you are frustrated. Honesty creates awareness. Awareness creates self-control. One emotion deserves special attention. Anger. Anger is not always wrong. Sometimes anger points toward injustice. Sometimes it motivates positive change. The danger appears when anger controls your actions. Words spoken in anger cannot be taken back. Decisions made in anger are rarely wise. Before speaking, ask yourself one question. Will I still be glad I said this tomorrow? If the answer is uncertain, wait. Silence is often wiser than emotional words. Fear also deserves attention. Fear has protected human beings for thousands of years. It warns us about real danger. But modern fear often appears where no physical danger exists. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of embarrassment, fear of success. These fears can quietly shrink your life. The answer is not to eliminate fear. The answer is to move forward while feeling afraid. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing action despite fear, one step at a time. Gratitude is another powerful emotional habit. When your attention focuses only on problems, negative emotions grow stronger. When you intentionally notice blessings, your perspective begins to change. Gratitude does not erase difficulties. It simply reminds you that difficulties are not the whole story. Spend a few minutes every evening asking yourself 3 questions. What made me smile today? What lesson did I learn today? What am I thankful for today? This practice trains your mind to notice hope even during challenging seasons. Now consider one final principle. Never make your biggest decisions during your strongest emotions. Do not resign from your job while angry. Do not end an important relationship during one argument. Do not make expensive purchases while excited. Do not abandon your dreams after one disappointment. Strong emotions create temporary vision. Patience restores clear thinking. Give yourself time. Time allows wisdom to catch up with emotion. Here is a practical exercise you can begin immediately. The next time you experience a strong emotion, remember these 4 simple steps. Pause, breathe, think, choose, pause before reacting. Breathe slowly and deeply. Think about the long-term consequences. Choose the response that reflects your values instead of your feelings. Practice this every day. It may feel unnatural at first. That is normal. Every new habit feels uncomfortable before it becomes automatic. With enough repetition, emotional control becomes part of your character. People will begin noticing the difference. They will trust your judgment. They will respect your calmness. Most importantly, you will trust yourself. Remember this truth. You cannot always control what happens to you. You cannot always control how you feel in the first moment, but you can control what happens next. That choice belongs to you. Every single day, every single conversation, every single challenge. The strongest people are not those who never feel emotion. They are the people who have learned to guide their emotions with wisdom. Master that skill, and you will discover a quiet strength that no circumstance can easily shake. Chapter 5. Build daily habits that strengthen your mind. Your life is not shaped by what you do once. It is shaped by what you do every day. Success is rarely the result of one extraordinary decision. More often, it is the result of many ordinary decisions repeated over time. That is the power of habits. Habits quietly build your future. Whether you notice them or not, your daily routines are moving you in a direction. The only question is this: are they moving you toward the life you want or away from it? Many people believe that strong minds are born, not built. They think discipline is a gift that only a few people possess. That is not true. Mental strength is developed. Just like a muscle grows stronger through consistent exercise, your mind becomes stronger through consistent habits. The process is simple. It is not always easy, but it is always possible. Imagine 2 people standing at the beginning of a new year. Both have the same dream. They want to improve their lives. The first person decides to make dramatic changes overnight. They create a long list of impossible goals. They promise to wake up at 5 every morning. They promise to exercise for 2 hours every day. They promise to read 3 books every week. For a few days, they feel motivated. Then reality arrives. They become tired. They miss one day. Soon they miss another. Within a month, they have returned to their old habits. The second person chooses a different approach. Instead of changing everything, they change one small habit. They read 10 pages each morning. They walk for 20 minutes every evening. They spend 5 minutes planning the next day before going to bed. The changes seem small, almost invisible. But they continue. 1 week becomes 1 month. 1 month becomes 1 year. At the end of that year, the second person has changed far more than the first. The difference was not motivation. The difference was consistency. This is one of the greatest lessons you can learn. Small habits become big results. People often overestimate what they can accomplish in one day. At the same time, they underestimate what they can accomplish in 1 year of consistent effort. Your habits are like drops of water filling a bucket. One drop seems insignificant, but thousands of drops eventually fill the entire container. Never underestimate small actions. They are building your future. One of the strongest habits you can develop is starting your day with intention. Many people begin their mornings by immediately checking messages, social media, or the latest news. Before they have even left their bed, they have allowed the outside world to control their attention. Imagine beginning differently. Wake up. Take a deep breath. Spend a few quiet moments gathering your thoughts. Ask yourself one simple question. What is the most important thing I can accomplish today? This question creates focus. It reminds your mind that every day has purpose. The first hour of your morning often influences the rest of your day. Protect it wisely. Another powerful habit is reading. Books allow you to borrow wisdom from people who have spent years learning valuable lessons. Even 10 minutes of reading each day can change the way you think. You do not need to finish an entire book in one sitting. Read a few pages. Reflect on what you learn, then apply one idea. Knowledge becomes valuable only when it becomes action. Learning without action changes very little. Action transforms information into wisdom. Physical movement is another habit that strengthens the mind. Many people think exercise only benefits the body. The truth is much greater. Regular movement improves focus. It reduces stress. It increases energy. It teaches discipline. You do not need an expensive gym membership. You can walk. You can stretch. You can ride a bicycle. The goal is not perfection. The goal is consistency. Every time you keep a promise to your body, you also strengthen trust in yourself. Trust grows through action. There is another habit that many successful people practice: reflection. At the end of each day, they pause for a few minutes. They ask simple questions. What did I do well today? What could I improve tomorrow? What lesson did I learn? These questions create awareness. Awareness creates growth. Without reflection, days begin to blend together. Weeks disappear. Months pass without meaningful progress. Reflection helps you learn from experience instead of simply repeating it. One of the greatest enemies of strong habits is distraction. Modern life constantly competes for your attention. Your phone vibrates. Notifications appear. Videos begin playing automatically. Hours disappear before you realize it. Attention is one of your most valuable resources. Guard it carefully. When you are working on something important, remove unnecessary distractions. Place your phone out of reach. Turn off notifications. Give your full attention to one task. A focused hour often produces better results than 3 distracted hours. Concentration is a habit. The more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. There is an old story about a stonecutter. Every day he struck a large rock with his hammer. One strike, then another, then another. After many days, the rock finally split in 2. People watching might believe the final strike caused the change. It did not. Every strike mattered. The final strike simply revealed the work that had been happening all along. Your habits work the same way. The results you see today are often the product of actions repeated many times before. Do not quit simply because progress feels invisible. Invisible progress is still progress. Patience is part of the process. Another important habit is keeping promises to yourself. Many people make commitments with great enthusiasm. I will start tomorrow. I will never miss another workout. I will finish this project. Then they break those promises. Each broken promise weakens self-confidence. Your mind begins believing that your own words cannot be trusted. The opposite is also true. Every promise you keep builds confidence. Start with small promises. Read for 10 minutes. Drink more water. Go to bed on time. Complete one important task before noon. Simple commitments completed consistently create powerful self-belief. Your environment also shapes your habits. Imagine placing fresh fruit on your kitchen table. You are more likely to eat it. Now imagine placing unhealthy snacks in the same place. You are more likely to eat those instead. The same principle applies to every area of life. Make good habits easier. Make bad habits harder. Place your book where you can see it. Prepare your workout clothes the night before. Keep your workspace clean. Small environmental changes remove unnecessary resistance. Success often depends less on willpower and more on preparation. There is another habit that strengthens the mind. Learning to embrace discomfort. Growth rarely happens inside comfort. The first workout feels difficult. The first speech feels uncomfortable. The first business idea feels uncertain. Many people mistake discomfort for danger. They quit because something feels unfamiliar. In reality, discomfort often signals growth. The strongest minds learn to welcome reasonable challenges. They understand that temporary discomfort creates lasting strength. Ask yourself each day, what small uncomfortable action will help me grow? The answer might surprise you. It may be making an important phone call. It may be speaking in front of a group. It may be learning a new skill. Every challenge completed expands your confidence. One habit deserves special attention: rest. Many people believe working without stopping is a sign of discipline. It is not. Even the strongest athletes recover between competitions. Your mind also needs recovery. Quality sleep, quiet moments, time with loved ones, time in nature. These moments restore your energy and improve your thinking. Rest is not laziness. Rest is preparation for your next effort. Without it, even the strongest habits become difficult to maintain. Now consider the power of identity. Do not simply ask, what habit should I build? Ask, who do I want to become? A person who values learning naturally reads. A healthy person naturally exercises. A dependable person naturally keeps promises. Focus on becoming the kind of person who performs the habit. When identity changes, behavior becomes easier. Here is a practical exercise you can begin today. Choose one habit, only one. Make it so small that it feels impossible to fail. Read one page, walk for 10 minutes, write one paragraph, meditate for 2 minutes. Repeat that habit every day for the next 30 days. Do not worry about perfection. Do not worry about speed. Simply remain consistent. Consistency creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence creates transformation. Remember this truth. You are becoming someone every single day. Every habit casts a vote for the person you are becoming. Choose those votes carefully. The strongest minds are not built during moments of inspiration. They are built through ordinary actions repeated with extraordinary consistency. Build the right habits. Protect them. Trust the process. Because one day you will look back and realize that the small decisions you almost ignored became the foundation of an entirely new life. Chapter 6. Defeat fear and take action. Fear has stopped more dreams than failure ever has. Many people never start the business they imagine. They never write the book they carry in their hearts. They never ask for the opportunity they deserve. They never become the person they were capable of becoming. Not because they lacked talent, not because they lacked intelligence, but because they allowed fear to make their decisions. Fear is one of the oldest emotions we possess. It was designed to protect us from real danger. Thousands of years ago, fear helped human beings survive. It warned them about wild animals. It kept them away from dangerous places. It prepared them to respond to immediate threats. Today, most of the fears we experience are different. We fear rejection. We fear failure. We fear criticism. We fear making mistakes. We fear looking foolish. We fear uncertainty. These fears rarely threaten our lives, yet they often prevent us from truly living. The purpose of this chapter is not to help you eliminate fear. That is impossible. The purpose is to teach you how to move forward even when fear is present. Because courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is taking action despite fear. Imagine standing at the edge of a swimming pool. You have never learned to swim. The water feels uncertain. Your heart beats faster. Your mind begins asking questions. What if I sink? What if I embarrass myself? What if I fail? The longer you stand at the edge, the stronger those questions become. Eventually, your imagination creates a danger much larger than reality. Now imagine taking one careful step into the shallow water with a qualified instructor beside you. The fear begins to change. It does not disappear, but it becomes smaller. Why? Because action gives your mind new evidence. Experience replaces imagination. This is how fear loses its power. Not through waiting, through action. Many people believe they need confidence before they begin. The truth is often the opposite. Confidence grows because you begin. Think back to the first time you learned something important. Perhaps it was riding a bicycle. Perhaps it was driving a car. Perhaps it was speaking in front of a group. You were probably nervous. You probably made mistakes. Yet every attempt taught you something. Every attempt made the next one a little easier. Skill grew. Confidence followed. Action came first. This pattern appears in almost every area of life. There is a story about a young architect named Michael. He dreamed of opening his own design company. For years, he worked for another business. Every evening he imagined becoming independent, but every time he considered taking the first step, fear spoke. What if nobody hires you? What if you lose your savings? What if you fail? Years passed. His dream remained only a dream. One day, an older mentor asked him a simple question. What is the cost of doing nothing? Michael had never considered that question. He had spent years calculating the cost of failure. He had never calculated the cost of staying where he was. That question changed his thinking. He realized that avoiding action also carried a price. It cost him opportunities. It cost him growth. It cost him time. Soon after, he began working on his business during evenings and weekends. He did not quit his job immediately. He moved carefully. He learned. He improved. Eventually, he built a successful company. His fear did not disappear on the first day. His courage simply became stronger than his excuses. Fear often grows in uncertainty. Your mind naturally fills unknown situations with negative possibilities. If you do not know what will happen, your imagination may assume the worst. One way to reduce fear is through preparation. Preparation creates confidence. Imagine preparing for an important presentation. If you wait until the last moment, anxiety increases. If you practice every day, your confidence grows. The challenge has not changed, you have changed. Preparation gives your mind reasons to believe in itself. Whenever possible, prepare thoroughly, study, practice, learn. Then trust yourself to act. Another common fear is the fear of failure. Many people avoid trying because they believe failure defines them. It does not. Failure is an event. It is never your identity. Every successful person has experienced failure. Inventors failed before making discoveries. Athletes lost competitions before winning championships. Entrepreneurs faced rejection before building successful businesses. Failure is not proof that you should stop. It is proof that you are attempting something meaningful. Imagine a child learning to walk. The child falls many times. No loving parent says, "You are clearly not meant to walk." Instead, they encourage another attempt. Eventually, walking becomes natural. Adults often forget this lesson. We expect ourselves to succeed immediately. When we struggle, we become discouraged. Growth does not work that way. Mastery requires repetition. Mistakes are part of learning. Treat yourself with the same patience you would offer that child. Another fear quietly affects many lives, the fear of other people's opinions. It begins early. We want to fit in. We want approval. We want acceptance. There is nothing wrong with healthy relationships. The problem appears when approval becomes more important than purpose. If you spend your life trying to satisfy everyone, you will eventually disappoint yourself. No matter what you choose, someone will disagree. Someone will criticize you. Someone will misunderstand your intentions. That is part of life. Do not allow the opinions of people who are not living your life to determine your future. Listen to wise advice. Accept constructive feedback. But never surrender your purpose simply because someone else lacks the courage to understand it. Fear also creates procrastination. Many people believe procrastination is caused by laziness. Often it is caused by fear. Fear of making mistakes. Fear of beginning. Fear of discovering that something is difficult. The solution is surprisingly simple. Shrink the task. Instead of saying, "I must finish the entire project today," say, "I will work for 15 minutes." Instead of saying, "I must write the whole book," say, "I will write 1 page." Small actions reduce emotional resistance. Once you begin, momentum usually follows. Starting is often the hardest part. Momentum becomes your friend. Another powerful way to overcome fear is to focus on service instead of yourself. Imagine giving a speech. If your attention stays on yourself, fear grows. What if I forget my words? What if people judge me? Now shift your focus. Ask yourself, how can I help the audience? The moment your attention moves from fear to contribution, anxiety begins to lose its grip. Purpose is stronger than self-consciousness. The same principle applies to business, relationships, leadership, teaching. When your goal becomes helping others, fear becomes less important. There is another truth worth remembering. Every person you admire has experienced fear. The confident speaker, the successful entrepreneur, the respected leader, the accomplished artist. None of them reached success because they never felt afraid. They reached success because they refused to let fear become their leader. Fear visits everyone. It does not have to stay. One practical habit can transform the way you respond to fear. Whenever fear appears, ask yourself these 3 questions. What exactly am I afraid of? What is the worst realistic outcome? What is one small action I can take today? These questions replace vague anxiety with clear thinking. Fear often becomes smaller when it is examined honestly. Action becomes easier when the next step is simple. There is another habit that builds courage. Celebrate action instead of perfection. At the end of each day, do not only ask whether everything worked perfectly. Ask yourself whether you acted with courage. Did you make the difficult phone call? Did you apply for the opportunity? Did you speak honestly? Did you take one step toward your dream? Every courageous action deserves recognition. You are training your mind to value progress instead of comfort. Comfort keeps life predictable. Courage makes life meaningful. Remember that growth always requires leaving familiar ground. Every new chapter begins with uncertainty. Every meaningful achievement begins with an uncomfortable first step. That discomfort is not a sign that you should stop. It is often a sign that you are growing. Here is a simple exercise you can begin today. Write down one fear that has been holding you back. Be specific. Then write one action that takes less than 30 minutes. Make the phone call. Send the email. Complete the application. Have the conversation. Do not wait until tomorrow. Do it today. Afterward, notice something important. You may still feel fear, but now you also have evidence that you can act despite it. Repeat this process often. Each courageous action becomes another brick in the foundation of your confidence. One day you will realize something remarkable. The fear that once controlled your life has become much smaller. Not because life became easier, but because you became stronger. Always remember this truth. Fear will knock on the door of your mind throughout your life. You cannot stop it from knocking, but you decide whether it is welcomed inside. Choose action over hesitation. Choose courage over comfort. Choose growth over excuses, because the life you dream about is rarely found on the safe side of fear. It is waiting on the other side of your decision to move forward. Chapter 7. Develop the identity of a winner. Winning is not something you do, it is someone you become. Many people spend their lives chasing success. They search for better strategies, they read more books, they attend seminars, they watch motivational videos. All of those things can be helpful. But many people overlook one powerful truth. Lasting success begins with identity. Your identity is the picture you hold of yourself. It answers one simple question: who am I? The answer to that question quietly influences every decision you make. If you believe you are disciplined, you will naturally look for ways to act with discipline. If you believe you are honest, you will choose honesty even when no one is watching. If you believe you are capable of growth, you will continue learning after others have stopped. Your identity becomes the foundation of your habits. Your habits become the foundation of your future. This is why real transformation always begins from the inside. Imagine an oak tree. The part you see above the ground is strong and impressive. Its branches stretch toward the sky. Its leaves provide shade. Its trunk stands firm during storms. But everything depends on what cannot be seen: its roots. If the roots are weak, the tree cannot remain standing for long. Your identity is like those roots. People see your actions, they see your achievements, they notice your results. But all of those things grow from the beliefs you hold about yourself. Strong roots create strong results. Weak roots create unstable lives. Many people unknowingly build an identity around their failures. They say things like, "I have always been lazy. I am not good with money. I never finish anything. I am just not a confident person." At first, these may sound like harmless descriptions. In reality, they become instructions. Your mind works hard to remain consistent with the identity you have accepted. If you believe you are lazy, your brain looks for reasons to avoid effort. If you believe you are organized, your brain encourages behaviors that match that identity. The identity comes first, the behavior follows. There is an old story about two brothers. Both grew up in a difficult home. Their father struggled with addiction. Years later, one brother also became addicted. When asked why, he replied, "I had no other choice. I grew up watching my father." The other brother built a successful and meaningful life. When asked the same question, he gave the same answer: "I had no other choice. I grew up watching my father." The same experience created two different identities. One believed the past controlled his future. The other believed the past gave him a reason to build something better. The lesson is clear. Your past influences you. It does not define you. You always have the power to choose who you become. Many people wait for success before they change their identity. They think, "When I become successful, I will believe in myself. When I lose weight, I will see myself as healthy. When I earn more money, I will feel confident." Real growth happens in the opposite direction. First, you decide who you want to become. Then you begin acting like that person. Eventually, your results catch up. Imagine someone who wants to become a writer. If they continue saying, "I hope to write someday," they may never begin. Now imagine they say, "I am a writer." What happens next? Writers write, even if only for 15 minutes, even if nobody reads their work. Their identity changes their behavior. The same principle applies everywhere. Healthy people make healthy choices. Responsible people keep their promises. Leaders take responsibility. Learners remain curious. Ask yourself an important question: who do I want to become? Do not think about titles. Do not think about income. Think about character. Do you want to become dependable, kind, disciplined, patient, courageous, generous? These qualities form the identity of a winner. Winning is not only about achieving goals. Winning is becoming a person worthy of those goals. Another important truth is that identity grows through repeated evidence. Imagine placing one brick on the ground. It does not look like much. Tomorrow you place another, then another. Eventually those bricks become a strong building. Every positive action is another brick. Every promise you keep is another brick. Every difficult conversation you handle with integrity is another brick. Every workout you complete, every page you read, every honest decision you make. They all strengthen your identity. Do not wait for one dramatic moment to change your life. Allow small victories to shape who you become. Many people underestimate the importance of keeping promises to themselves. When you repeatedly break your own commitments, your confidence weakens. Your mind begins believing, "My words do not matter." Now imagine the opposite. You promise yourself that you will read 10 pages today. You do it. Tomorrow you promise yourself a short walk. You do it. The next day you complete another meaningful task. Slowly your mind begins receiving a different message. I keep my word. That belief becomes part of your identity. Confidence is built one promise at a time. Another important habit is accepting responsibility. Winners do not blame circumstances for everything. They do not spend their lives pointing fingers. They ask a different question. What can I do now? That question gives them power. Blame keeps people trapped. Responsibility moves people forward. This does not mean every problem is your fault. Life is not always fair. Unexpected challenges happen. People disappoint you. Opportunities disappear. But even then, you remain responsible for your next decision. That is where your power lives. Responsibility creates freedom. Victim thinking creates limitation. There is another quality that defines a winning identity: integrity. Integrity means doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Imagine returning extra money after receiving too much change at a store. Nobody may ever know what happened, but you know. That decision strengthens your character. Identity is built in private long before it is recognized in public. People admire success they can see. Character is developed where few people are watching. The strongest identities are built quietly. Comparison is another obstacle. Many people spend so much time trying to become someone else that they never become the best version of themselves. Your journey is unique. Your strengths are unique. Your experiences are unique. Learn from successful people. Be inspired by them. But never believe you must become their copy. The world already has them. It only has one you. Become the strongest version of yourself. Growth becomes much easier when you stop competing with everyone else. Compete with yesterday's version of yourself. That is a competition you can win every day. Your language also shapes your identity. Pay attention to the words you use. Instead of saying, "I am trying to be disciplined," say, "I am becoming a disciplined person." Instead of saying, "I hope I can improve," say, "I improve through daily practice." Words alone will not change your life, but words influence how you see yourself. Choose language that supports growth. Another powerful practice is visualization. Spend a few quiet minutes each morning imagining the person you are becoming. Picture yourself making wise decisions. Picture yourself remaining calm under pressure. Picture yourself completing difficult work with discipline. Picture yourself speaking with confidence and treating others with respect. This is not wishful thinking, it is mental preparation. Athletes often visualize success before competition. Leaders mentally rehearse important conversations. Your mind performs better when it has practiced the experience. Remember, however, that visualization must always be followed by action. Dreams without action remain dreams. Action turns vision into reality. Now consider one final story. A sculptor stood before a large block of marble. Someone asked him how he knew what would emerge from the stone. The sculptor smiled and replied, "I simply remove everything that does not belong. Your life follows the same principle. The winner you hope to become is already within you. You do not need to create a completely different person. You need to remove what no longer belongs. Remove limiting beliefs. Remove excuses. Remove destructive habits. Remove fear that no longer serves you. As those things disappear, your true character becomes visible. Here is a practical exercise you can begin today. Write one sentence that describes the person you choose to become. For example, I am a disciplined person who keeps my promises and continues growing every day. Place that sentence somewhere you will see it often. Read it every morning. Then ask yourself one question. What would this person do today? Let the answer guide your decisions. Not once, every day. Remember this truth. Success is not an identity. It is a result. Character is the identity. Results naturally follow. Do not spend your life chasing success. Spend your life becoming the kind of person who naturally creates success wherever they go. Because when your identity changes, your habits change. When your habits change, your future changes. And when your future changes, you discover that the greatest victory was never becoming successful. It was becoming the person capable of creating success again and again, no matter what challenges life placed in your path. Chapter 8. Create a life of purpose and focus. A busy life is not always a meaningful life. Many people fill every hour of their day with activity. They answer emails, they attend meetings, they scroll through endless information, they move from one task to another without stopping. At the end of the day, they feel exhausted, yet they also feel that nothing important has truly been accomplished. Being busy is easy, being focused is rare. Purpose gives your life direction, focus gives your purpose momentum. When these two qualities work together, ordinary days begin to produce extraordinary results. Without purpose, you drift. Without focus, you become distracted. Both are necessary. Imagine a ship leaving the harbor without a destination. The engine works, the crew is busy, the sails are ready. Everything appears to be in motion, but without a clear destination, every wave changes its direction. Every wind becomes a distraction. Eventually, the ship wastes time, energy, and resources. Life works the same way. If you do not decide where you are going, circumstances will decide for you. Other people will determine your priorities. Social media will capture your attention. Urgent problems will replace important goals. Years may pass before you realize you have been moving without purpose. Purpose begins with one simple question. Why? Why do you want to succeed? Why do you want to improve? Why do you want to build a better future? Many people focus only on what they want. Few people spend time understanding why they want it. The stronger your reason, the stronger your commitment. Imagine two people training for a marathon. One wants to impress others. The other wants to improve their health so they can spend more years with their family. Both begin with enthusiasm. Months later, difficult weather arrives. Training becomes uncomfortable. The first person gives up. The second continues. The difference is purpose. A meaningful reason creates lasting motivation. Take time to discover your own reason. Do not borrow someone else's dream. Build a future that reflects your values. Purpose also changes the way you see challenges. When your purpose is weak, obstacles appear larger than your dreams. When your purpose is strong, obstacles become part of the journey. Think about a mountain climber. Every step uphill requires effort. The climb is difficult. The weather changes. The body becomes tired. Yet the climber continues because the view from the top is worth the struggle. Purpose gives pain meaning. Without meaning, discomfort feels unnecessary. With meaning, discomfort becomes an investment. Many people confuse goals with purpose. Goals are important. They give you something measurable. You may want to save money, learn a new skill, start a business, write a book. Those are valuable goals. Purpose goes deeper. Purpose explains why those goals matter. Imagine reaching every goal on your list. Now imagine feeling empty afterward. This happens more often than people realize. Achievement without purpose rarely brings lasting satisfaction. Success feels meaningful when it serves something greater than yourself. Perhaps your purpose is to help your family. Perhaps it is to inspire others. Perhaps it is to solve meaningful problems. Perhaps it is to become the best example you can be for the next generation. Purpose gives success significance. Focus protects that purpose. Modern life constantly competes for your attention. Every notification asks for your time. Every advertisement asks for your interest. Every distraction promises entertainment. Attention has become one of the world's most valuable resources. If you do not protect it, someone else will use it. Imagine sunlight shining across a field. It provides warmth. Now imagine that same light passing through a magnifying glass. Suddenly it becomes powerful enough to create fire. Focus works the same way. Scattered effort produces scattered results. Concentrated effort creates remarkable progress. This is why successful people often do fewer things than everyone else. They simply do the right things with greater attention. One practical habit is identifying your most important task each morning. Before checking messages, before opening social media, before responding to other people's requests. Ask yourself, what is the one task that will make today meaningful? Complete that task first whenever possible. Everything else becomes easier afterward. This habit protects your priorities. It prevents urgent distractions from replacing important work. There is a story about a professor standing before a classroom. He placed a large empty jar on the table. Then he filled it with large rocks. He asked the students, "Is the jar full?" They nodded. Next, he poured small stones into the jar. The stones filled the empty spaces. Again he asked, "Is the jar full?" The students agreed. Finally, he poured sand into the jar. The sand filled every remaining space. The lesson was simple. If he had poured the sand first, the large rocks would never have fit. Life is the same. The large rocks represent your highest priorities: your health, your family, your character, your meaningful work. The small stones represent necessary responsibilities. The sand represents distractions. If distractions fill your schedule first, there will be little room left for what truly matters. Choose your large rocks first. Everything else should fit around them. Focus also requires saying no. Many people believe every opportunity should be accepted, every invitation, every request, every project. Eventually they become overwhelmed. Every yes is also a no. When you say yes to something unimportant, you often say no to something meaningful. Protect your time with wisdom. Do not confuse kindness with the inability to set boundaries. Respecting your own priorities allows you to serve others more effectively. Another important habit is creating moments of silence. The world is full of noise, music, television, conversations, notifications, constant information. Few people spend time alone with their thoughts. Yet clarity often appears during quiet moments. Take a short walk without your phone. Sit quietly for a few minutes. Reflect on your direction. Ask yourself honest questions. Am I living according to my values? Am I spending time on what matters most? Am I becoming the person I want to become? These moments of reflection prevent you from drifting through life without intention. Purpose is not discovered only once. It becomes clearer through regular reflection. Another challenge to focus is perfectionism. Many people delay important work because they want everything to be perfect. They wait for the perfect time, the perfect idea, the perfect conditions. Perfection often becomes another form of procrastination. Progress is more valuable than perfection. A completed project that can be improved later is more valuable than a perfect idea that never begins. Take the next step. Improve as you go. Movement creates clarity. Waiting rarely does. Purpose also grows stronger when your daily actions match your deepest values. If you value health, care for your body. If you value learning, continue reading. If you value honesty, speak truthfully. If you value family, make time for them. Your calendar reveals your priorities more clearly than your words. Live in a way that reflects what matters most. This creates peace. There is another important truth. Your purpose does not have to be extraordinary to be meaningful. Not everyone is called to become famous. Not everyone will lead a large organization. Not everyone will stand before thousands of people. Purpose is not measured by popularity. It is measured by impact. A teacher changes lives one student at a time. A parent shapes the future through love and guidance. A nurse brings comfort during difficult moments. A craftsman creates work with excellence. Meaning is found in faithful service. Do not underestimate the importance of small acts performed with great care. Every meaningful contribution matters. Now consider the power of daily direction. Imagine an airplane leaving one city for another. If the pilot changes the direction by only a few degrees, the airplane eventually arrives in a completely different place. Small changes in direction create large changes over time. The same principle applies to your life. One better decision each day, one less distraction, one more hour invested in your purpose. These small adjustments shape your future. Never underestimate the power of consistent direction. Here is a practical exercise you can begin today. Take a blank sheet of paper. Write the 5 things that matter most in your life. Do not think about what impresses other people. Think about what truly matters to you. Now look at how you spent your time during the past week. Do your actions reflect your priorities? If the answer is no, choose one small change you can make tomorrow. Perhaps you spend less time on distractions. Perhaps you spend more time learning. Perhaps you have an important conversation with someone you love. Small changes made consistently create meaningful lives. Remember this truth. Your attention is your greatest investment. Where your attention goes, your life follows. Guard it carefully. Protect your purpose. Choose your priorities with intention, because a focused life is not built by accident. It is built through daily decisions. When purpose gives you direction and focus gives you discipline, you stop wandering through life. You begin living each day with clarity. Each decision becomes more meaningful. Each step moves you closer to the person you were created to become, and that is a life worth living. Chapter 9. Stay strong when life gets difficult. Life will test you. That is not a possibility, it is a certainty. No matter how disciplined you become, no matter how positive your mindset is, no matter how carefully you plan your future, there will be seasons when life feels heavy. Plans will fail. People will disappoint you. Unexpected problems will appear. Dreams may take longer than you hoped. During those moments, your greatest strength will not be your talent, it will be your resilience. Resilience is the ability to keep moving forward when life becomes difficult. It is not about pretending that everything is fine. It is not about ignoring pain. It is about refusing to let pain decide the rest of your story. Everyone faces hardship. The difference is not who experiences difficulty. The difference is how they respond to it. Imagine a tree standing alone in an open field. During calm weather, every tree looks strong. But when powerful winds arrives, something remarkable happens. Trees with deep roots remain standing. Trees with shallow roots struggle to survive. The storm reveals what was already there. Life works in the same way. Challenges reveal the strength you have been building every day. Your daily habits, your character, your mindset, your discipline. These become the roots that hold you steady during difficult seasons. Many people ask, why is this happening to me? It is a natural question, but it is rarely the most helpful one. A better question is, what is this experience teaching me? That simple shift changes your perspective. Instead of becoming trapped by the problem, you begin searching for growth. Every challenge contains a lesson. Sometimes the lesson is patience. Sometimes it is humility. Sometimes it is courage. Sometimes it is learning to let go. Growth often arrives disguised as difficulty. Consider the story of a young woman named Emma. She had worked for years to build a successful career. She loved her job. She imagined staying there for many years. Then one unexpected morning, she was told the company was closing. Her position no longer existed. She felt shocked. She felt afraid. For several weeks, she questioned herself. She wondered if she had failed. She wondered if her future had disappeared. Then something changed. Instead of allowing disappointment to define her, she began learning new skills. She attended classes. She connected with new people. She explored opportunities she had never considered before. Months later, she accepted a position that gave her greater freedom, better income, and work she genuinely enjoyed. Looking back, she realized something important. The event that once felt like the end had actually become a new beginning. At the time, she could not see it. That is often how life works. You rarely understand the purpose of difficult seasons while you are living through them. Clarity usually comes later. This does not mean every hardship is good. Pain is still painful. Loss is still real. Disappointment still hurts. But difficult experiences often develop strengths that comfortable seasons never could. Think about a blacksmith shaping a piece of steel. The metal is placed into intense heat. Then it is struck again and again with a hammer. Without pressure, the steel remains weak. The process is uncomfortable, yet it creates strength. Life often shapes people in the same way. Pressure reveals character. Challenges develop endurance. Responsibility creates maturity. None of these lessons are easy. All of them are valuable. One of the greatest dangers during difficult seasons is isolation. Many people withdraw when life becomes hard. They stop talking. They avoid family. They refuse help. They believe they must carry every burden alone. Strength does not mean facing every challenge without support. Real strength includes knowing when to ask for help. Every successful person has received guidance. Every strong leader has learned from others. Every resilient person has leaned on someone during difficult times. There is wisdom in community. Never confuse independence with isolation. Another challenge is the temptation to quit too early. Imagine planting a seed. You water it every day. For weeks, nothing appears above the ground. If you judge only by what you can see, you may believe nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, roots are growing. Growth often begins where your eyes cannot see it. Many dreams are abandoned just before progress begins. Patience is not passive. Patience is active trust. It is choosing to continue even when immediate results are invisible. Remember that not every season is meant for harvesting. Some seasons are meant for planting. Some are meant for learning. Some are meant for preparing. Respect every season. Do not expect life to look the same every month. Another important lesson is learning to separate temporary circumstances from permanent identity. You may lose your job. You have not lost your value. You may experience failure. You have not become a failure. You may feel discouraged. You have not lost your potential. Circumstances change. Character remains. Protect your identity during difficult seasons. Never allow temporary pain to rewrite the truth about who you are. There is another habit that strengthens resilience: gratitude. This may seem surprising. When life becomes difficult, gratitude is often the last thing people think about. Yet gratitude changes perspective. It reminds you that even during painful seasons, good things still exist. Perhaps you have supportive friends. Perhaps you have good health. Perhaps you have learned valuable lessons. Perhaps you simply have another opportunity to begin again. Gratitude does not deny hardship. It prevents hardship from becoming the entire story. Hope also plays an important role. Hope is not pretending that tomorrow will be easy. Hope is believing that tomorrow is worth facing. Without hope, people stop trying. With hope, they continue moving forward one step at a time. Protect your hope. Feed it with encouraging books, meaningful conversations, constructive thoughts, positive action. Hope grows where attention is placed. Another powerful habit is controlling what you can control. During difficult moments, many people spend enormous energy worrying about things beyond their influence. They worry about other people's decisions. They worry about the past. They worry about possibilities that may never happen. Ask yourself one simple question. What can I control today? You can control your attitude. You can control your effort. You can control your words. You can control your habits. Focus your energy there. Peace often begins when you stop fighting battles that were never yours to control. Forgiveness is another form of strength. Life sometimes brings betrayal, unfair treatment, broken trust. Holding on to bitterness may feel justified, but bitterness quietly steals your peace. Forgiveness does not always mean forgetting. It does not always mean restoring every relationship. It means refusing to let past pain control your future. Forgiveness sets your heart free. Another lesson worth remembering is this. Do not measure your life by one chapter. Imagine reading a novel and stopping after the most difficult chapter. You would never know how the story ends. Life is similar. One painful season is not your entire story. Keep turning the page. There are chapters you have not lived yet. There are opportunities you have not seen yet. There are people you have not met yet. Your future is still being written. Here is a practical exercise for difficult days. Whenever life feels overwhelming, write down 3 columns. In the first column, write the problems you cannot control. Leave them there. In the second column, write the things you can influence. In the third column, write one action you will take today. Only one. Perhaps it is making a phone call. Perhaps it is updating your resume. Perhaps it is taking a walk to clear your mind. Perhaps it is asking someone for advice. Small actions restore momentum. Momentum creates hope. Hope builds resilience. Finally, remember that strength is rarely loud. True strength is often quiet. It is the parent who continues working hard for their family despite exhaustion. It is the student who keeps studying after repeated setbacks. It is the entrepreneur who begins again after losing everything. It is the person who chooses kindness after experiencing pain. Strength is not always seen in dramatic moments. More often, it is found in ordinary people making courageous decisions every day. One step, one choice, one act of faith, again and again. Life will challenge you. That cannot be avoided. But every challenge gives you another opportunity to discover what you are truly made of. Do not fear difficult seasons. Allow them to shape you. Allow them to strengthen your character. Allow them to deepen your wisdom. One day you will look back and realize that the moments you wanted to escape became the moments that prepared you for everything that followed. Always remember this truth. Strong people are not those who never struggle. Strong people are those who refuse to surrender. No matter how dark the night becomes, they continue moving toward the morning. Do the same. Keep going. Your story is not over yet. Chapter 10. Win your mind. Change your life. Everything you have learned in this book leads to one simple truth. Your life changes when your mind changes. Not before, not by accident, not because of luck. It changes because you choose to think differently, live differently, and act differently. Throughout this journey, we have explored many powerful ideas. You learned that every battle begins in the mind. You discovered how limiting beliefs quietly shape your future. You learned to recognize and guide your inner voice. You explored the importance of controlling your emotions instead of allowing them to control you. You saw how daily habits strengthen your character. You learned that courage grows through action. You discovered that identity shapes behavior. You understood the value of purpose and focus. You learned how resilience helps you continue when life becomes difficult. Each lesson is important. Together, they form a complete system for personal transformation. Knowledge alone does not change lives, application does. Many people enjoy learning. They read books, they attend seminars, they listen to inspiring messages. For a short time, they feel motivated. Then life returns to normal. Nothing changes. Why? Because information without action becomes entertainment. Transformation begins when knowledge becomes daily practice. Imagine standing before a beautiful bridge. You admire its design. You study every detail. You understand exactly how it was built, but you never walk across it. Knowing about the bridge does not take you to the other side. You must take the first step. Life works the same way. This book has given you ideas. Now your future depends on your decisions. Every morning presents a choice. You can repeat yesterday, or you can create something better. The choice belongs to you. Many people wait for the perfect moment to begin. They believe tomorrow will be easier. Next month will be better. Next year will finally be the right time. The truth is simple. The perfect moment rarely arrives. Progress belongs to those who begin before they feel completely ready. Action creates opportunity. Waiting often creates regret. Think about a sculptor standing before a large block of stone. Day after day, the sculptor removes small pieces, one careful strike, then another. The changes seem almost invisible, but over time, a masterpiece begins to appear. Your life is shaped in the same way. Every wise decision removes one unnecessary habit. Every act of discipline strengthens your character. Every courageous choice reveals more of the person you were created to become. Transformation is not dramatic every day. Most of the time, it is quiet. It happens in ordinary moments. Choosing to wake up when the alarm rings. Choosing to finish the task instead of making another excuse. Choosing patience instead of anger. Choosing gratitude instead of complaint. Choosing courage instead of fear. These decisions may appear small. Together, they create extraordinary lives. Never underestimate the power of ordinary days. Most of your future will be built there. There is another truth worth remembering. Your environment will not always encourage growth. Some people will doubt your dreams. Some will criticize your progress. Some may even feel uncomfortable because you have decided to improve your life. Do not allow their limitations to become your own. Respect everyone. Listen with wisdom. Learn from constructive advice. But remain faithful to your purpose. Not everyone will understand your journey. They do not have to. This is your life. You are responsible for how you live it. Another challenge will appear as you continue growing. Success itself. Many people assume that reaching one goal means the work is finished. It is not. Growth is a lifelong journey. Every achievement becomes the starting point for another opportunity to learn. Stay humble. Remain curious. Continue improving. The strongest people never believe they know everything. They remain students throughout their lives. Learning keeps the mind alive. Humility keeps the heart open. Together they create lasting wisdom. There will also be days when you lose motivation. This happens to everyone. Do not panic. Do not assume something is wrong. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is dependable. Build your life on discipline. There will be mornings when you do not feel like exercising. Exercise anyway. There will be evenings when you do not feel like reading. Read anyway. There will be moments when fear tells you to stop. Take one more step. Feelings change. Character remains. Every time you choose discipline over emotion, you strengthen the person you are becoming. Remember the power of one decision. One decision can change a career. One decision can repair a relationship. One decision can begin a business. One decision can end a destructive habit. One decision can completely change the direction of a life. Never believe that your choices are too small to matter. The future is built one decision at a time. Imagine your life 5 years from now. Picture yourself healthier, calmer, more confident, more disciplined, more focused. Imagine waking each morning with purpose instead of confusion. Imagine facing challenges with courage instead of fear. Imagine becoming someone your family respects, your friends trust, and your future self thanks. That future is not created by wishful thinking. it is created by today's actions. The person you become tomorrow depends on the decisions you make today. Do not wait for extraordinary opportunities. Create extraordinary habits. Those habits will eventually create extraordinary results. As this book comes to an end, remember one important principle. You are never finished growing. There is always another lesson to learn, another habit to strengthen, another fear to overcome, another person to encourage, another opportunity to improve. Growth is not a destination, it is a way of living. Make learning a lifelong companion. Protect your peace, guard your thoughts, feed your mind with wisdom. Surround yourself with people who inspire growth. Choose integrity when shortcuts appear. Choose kindness when bitterness seems easier. Choose responsibility when excuses become tempting. These choices will shape your character far more than temporary success ever could. If you remember only one message from this book, let it be this. Your mind is the most powerful place in your life. It can become your greatest prison, or it can become your greatest source of freedom. The choice is made every single day. Every thought you accept, every belief you strengthen, every habit you repeat, every action you take. Win the battle in your mind. The victories in your life will begin to follow. Do not seek a perfect life. Seek a purposeful one. Do not chase comfort. Chase growth. Do not fear failure. Fear a life in which you never discover what you were capable of becoming. Years from now, people may notice your success. They may admire your confidence. They may wonder how your life changed so dramatically. They will see the results. Only you will know where the transformation truly began. It began with one decision. The decision to take responsibility for your thoughts. The decision to believe that change was possible. The decision to act even when it was difficult. The decision to become stronger than your excuses. That decision begins today, not tomorrow, not next week. Today. Close this book with determination. Stand up with purpose. Take one meaningful action before this day ends, no matter how small it seems. Momentum begins with movement. Progress begins with action. Transformation begins with one courageous choice. Always remember this final truth. The greatest victory you will ever achieve is not winning against another person. It is winning against the fear, doubt, excuses, and limiting beliefs that once lived inside your own mind. Win that battle. Protect that victory. Continue growing every day. Because when you win your mind, you do far more than change your thinking. You change your habits, you change your decisions, you change your relationships, you change your future, and in the end, you change your life. Conclusion. You have reached the end of this book, but this is not the end of your journey. In many ways, it is only the beginning. Over the course of these chapters, you have explored one powerful idea. The quality of your life depends on the quality of your mind. Everything changes when the way you think begins to change. You have learned that your thoughts shape your beliefs influence your actions become your habits shape your character, and your character determines the direction of your life. This is not a theory. It is a principle that has transformed countless lives. Now it is your turn. As you leave this book, remember that lasting change does not happen in one dramatic moment. It happens through small decisions made consistently. One better thought, one better choice, one better habit, again and again. There will be days when progress feels slow. Keep going. There will be days when you doubt yourself. Keep going. There will be days when you make mistakes. Learn from them, then keep going. Do not expect perfection, expect growth. The strongest people are not those who never fail. They are the ones who refuse to stop learning. They understand that every setback contains a lesson. Every challenge develops strength. Every difficult season prepares them for something greater. Never allow one bad day to convince you that you have a bad life. Never allow one failure to define your future. Never allow fear to become louder than your purpose. You are capable of far more than you have imagined. Not because life will always be easy, but because you have the ability to grow stronger than the obstacles you face. From this day forward, protect your mind. Be careful what you read. Be careful what you watch. Be careful who influences your thinking. Feed your mind with wisdom. Surround yourself with people who encourage growth. Choose habits that move you closer to the life you want. Most importantly, keep the promises you make to yourself. Every promise you keep strengthens your confidence. Every disciplined action strengthens your character. Every courageous decision moves you one step closer to the person you are meant to become. Remember that success is not measured only by money, titles, or recognition. True success is waking up each day with peace in your heart. It is living with purpose. It is treating people with kindness and respect. It is having the courage to continue growing, even when the journey becomes difficult. That kind of success belongs to anyone willing to do the work, including you. One day, you will look back at this season of your life. You may not remember every page of this book. You may not remember every story or every example. But if you apply even a few of these principles, you will remember the results. You will remember becoming more confident, more disciplined, more focused, more resilient. You will remember becoming someone you are proud to be. That is the true reward. As this audiobook comes to a close, I want to leave you with one final thought. Your future is not created by chance. It is created by choice. Every day you have the opportunity to choose hope over fear, discipline over excuses, growth over comfort, purpose over distraction, and action over hesitation. Those choices will shape your destiny. So walk forward with confidence, face challenges with courage, learn without stopping, grow without limits, and never forget the lesson that connects every chapter of this book. Your greatest victory will never be over another person. It will always be over the doubts, fears, and limitations within your own mind. Win that battle every day. Do that consistently. And there is no limit to the life you can build. Thank you for taking this journey. Now, the next chapter is yours to write.